The Tarsacci MDT 8000 review starts now. Hey, welcome back to the channel, everybody. And if you're new here, please smash the subscribe and the like button if you would, please. And be sure to leave a comment down below so that I can acknowledge you as a new viewer. Today, we're going to go through, we've spent since mid-April, I believe, with the Tarsacci MDT 8000 metal detector from Dimitar Gorgov. And this detector is unlike anything I've ever swung. So to compare it to the detectors of today makes it very difficult. But I did do some comparison with the Equinox 800. First thing about the detector when you get it out and put it together is quality of construction. How well it held up, how well it's made, you know, all the things like that, because you can get a detector that's not made well, a wobbly shaft or something that the coils are not made great. When I go to rank this one on par of the construction of the machine, this machine ranks a 10 out of 10 on construction and how durable the machine is. No complaints. The only thing that I ended up breaking on it was I broke the coil bolt, and that was because I had it down too tight and it actually stripped out the plastic threads. The next item on my list, the first thing I think about, the first thing I worry about when I get one together and I put it together and I get it charged up and I take it out, is what's the battery life like on this machine? The Tarsacci MDT 8000 has probably the best battery life of any machine I've ever used. I probably hunted all summer, all fall, and most of the winter recharging or changing batteries maybe 3 times. The battery life is excellent. You get an extra battery with the machine. There's no comparison. Battery life on this machine, no doubt, also gets a 10 out of 10. Next item on my list would be ease of use. The manual is pretty self-explanatory. There's a few items in here on this unit that are a little different. There's some things about the unit here that the black sand mode, which I never really got a chance to experiment with too much, and also salt mode, which I did get to play with a little bit, and it's a very effective tool. Those things I'm not really going to cover in the review because I don't feel like I know them well enough to speak intelligently on them. And this is basically just a general review of the machine. First off, easy to ground balance. You can put it on the track mode if you like or whatnot and go right out and swing. Things that most people care about when they're talking about, a new machine or whatnot. How well is the target separation? The target separation on the Tarsacci is really good. Combination between BLF and pulse induction. It's somewhere in the middle. Dimitar has his own realm of what he calls it. I don't understand that technical stuff, so I just know that it is a little bit different. And this machine reacts differently. Trashy parks, whatnot, I've been able to do really well with it. So target separation and hearing multiple targets, it absolutely picks up great. The tones aren't very annoying, so when you listen to it, you pick up okay. Scale on the numbers, for your deep VDIs, like -30 to 30. The pinpointing feature on this, I found that once you got it dialed in and understood the machine, it was pretty decent. I didn't have much trouble with it once I learned how to use it, but there is a little bit of a learning curve with it. So as you swing over a signal, it's not like your target separation's there. You hear the multiple beeps as you go through trash and whatnot, or lower tones to higher tones. You hear the separation, but it's almost like there's a slight time delay on it, the way that it goes. So actually finding the signal's not so bad, but when you zero it in, when you're trying to zero in on where it's actually exactly at, the learning process was a little stiffer. I had a little bit of time there to get used to that. And the best way I can describe it is I felt like the Tarsacci had a slight delay in that area. Once you got it zeroed in, then you got your pinpointer function worked accurately, but sometimes not the initial hear of the signal, but just trying to zero it in sometimes seems like it took me a little bit of time there. On that aspect, I want to give that in, the whole pinpointing and narrowing down to where it's at. I want to give that about a 7, but it was very accurate once you got there. Also, I didn't say before, ease of use on that, I also want to give around an 8. I felt like the unit was fairly easy to get started with, and I could go out and I swung almost immediately with no real help involved. The next thing on determining when I swung the machine what I liked or I didn't like about it was the signal. When you look at the signal and you go to try to determine a depth for digging, the lower the number was supposed to be, the deeper the signal. It worked out sometimes, and sometimes I didn't feel like it worked out that well. So I want to talk a few seconds here about terrain, areas that I hunted. I found that in the park, I did exceptionally well. I found good targets amongst trash. I did not have any trouble whatsoever, weeding through pull tabs and whatnot with that machine. It was excellent. It was very good in the parks. Also give that one about an 8 out of 10. In the fields where the signals were few and far between, but amongst the iron patches and the deeper targets in the fields was really good. I had one of my better field seasons at the end of spring and in the fall with the machine. Went back to some hunted out spots that we didn't feel like, we felt like we drilled really well, and I had some pretty good luck in fields with that machine. Did not get to do sand or beach or salt water. I didn't get to do any of that with the machine. However, I do feel like the depth, the field mode was a solid 8 to a 9, somewhere I'll say 8.5, maybe a 9 out of 10. We'll go 9 on the fields. Also, and then the next portion of that is how well did I do on deep targets. Now, we had several instances where we had multiple detectors on certain areas. One of my videos had the F75 with the big coil on it. Also had an Equinox 800 with the double D coil, the standard coil on it, and ours. And we hit a piece of copper or brass at 9.5 inches, and everybody else was kind of discounting the signal as not good metal or not a good target. The Tarsacci was really good on that target. Picked it up clear. There was no interference in the signal. I knew right away that there was no iron that was interfering with it. It was a good target. And in the bottom of that hole ended up being, it wasn't a piece of, it was like a piece of copper pipe, something to that effect, but it was kind of small and it was a very good target. So I loved the way I could understand what I was digging with the Tarsacci. It seemed to do a great job overall in the fields, a really good job in the park. More oftentimes than not, I work with detectors until I get really good at them. And so therefore, I feel like I can find the best out of a detector, but this detector did a really good job this year. It also heard signals, different signals, and I can't really explain that in comparison to the VLF, but most of the signals did sound a little different. Once I got used to using it, I felt like it was doing an excellent job. It did so well that I'm probably going to keep it in my repertoire for next year. So I hate to end on the bad note with the machine. The headphones that come with it, corded, there's no cordless option. I really hope that that's something that they implement and fix, whether it be with this detector or the next. I don't like the corded option for headphones. In the 7 months that I used the detector, I'm on my 3rd set, and that's just basically because I am hard on headphones. So the wireless would have been a big plus for me. The headphones on that thing are definitely a 5. I would recommend that finding a good set of headphones for it if you were going to buy it. Last but not least, I won't keep you guys much longer, but I do want to get into one other item that most people, don't really think about when they review a detector. My next portion is about customer service. This is the first time that I've ever been in direct contact with the creator or inventor of a piece of equipment. Dimitar was excellent on that aspect. There was plenty of resources, whether it be within the forums or his cell phone. Any questions I had my answers rather quickly. As far as everything else went with that machine, those guys were really good. I really look forward to the next machine that Dimitar puts out if he keeps going down this road, because he started out really good. You know, this was his first attempt on his own for being a manufacturer of a metal detectorist, and he got a lot of things right. So Dimitar and his customer service has been excellent. The price point on this machine is kind of high, but I can tell you that if you afford the money to buy this machine, you're buying a quality piece of equipment. Price on that, I'm going to rate as a 5. Just because most people are not going to spend that much money as a beginner in the hobby. Therefore, you know, but on a basic standpoint, it may not be for the first time buyer. It's more of an intermediate buyer or an expert, somebody that has been in the field for a while that wants to test or try this out. I think that's a really good detector for that. As always, please hit the like, subscribe, and share. Every one of you that leaves a comment on this video, I'm sure I will get back to you on it. If you have any questions about the machine that I can't answer, I know where to refer you to. And if you're interested in buying one, please get a hold of Dimitar right there, Tarsacci.com, and that is the MDT 8000. I feel like I gave this detector a great run this year, and I'm still using it right now.